figuring out who you are. Like I feel like I've very much been on that wave ever since, because I feel like, I don't know, I realized recently that I somehow lost my way in like my teenage years, when you kind of start like taking everything personal, or you just
Mm-hmm.
don't really know who you are and you hear other people's judgments. But
Yeah,
now, like as I'm older and I can kind of be like, kind of separate myself in my own like mental patterns, it's interesting to be able to really see what are the things that resonates with me, like really and truly resonates with me. And it takes like a lot of self-awareness to just see like what is it that resonates
it
with
does.
me.
And like another thing I learned was like you gotta give it a few goes. Like for me to ask myself that question is like I can in some cases I cannot provide like an immediate response. Like I definitely have to go through a couple life experiences and make some mistakes or something or try things before I can answer that question sometimes because I'm like, oh, is this serving me or is this me or do I want this to be me? And maybe in that moment I'm like, yes, yes, yes. But then I look back and I'm like, oh no, 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 no. That's not for me. Like that's not something I want. Like at one point I thought that was just it. I was like on a roll with that. And then I look back like, okay, like no, that was not it. So it's definitely a thing. Like it's definitely hard. I feel like I'm doing it over and over again in different situations. Like I did it for university and now like I'm living abroad in another country and I'm doing it over again. Just reintroducing myself to whoever is in my world and also myself again. It's like it's hard, but it's okay.
I feel you. I
Yeah.
definitely would say like in Michigan, there are very few people that I would say like that were interesting to me, but you from the
Mhm.
get-go, I was like, "This girl, there is something about this girl." I'm like, I don't know what it is.
Crazy.
I was like, there's
Loony.
not even. I was just like, there's something about her that's just super interesting, and I feel like at least since I've been in your presence, like you've always been very brave, and I feel like confident in being able to go to places you've never been, and like try new experiences and just not really care or like let fear stop you. Like you still persevered, and I admired that so much. Like you were just like on your own schedule, like crushing through eeks, traveling. I was just like, who the hell? I was like, who is Camille? I was like,
I'm glad I look like that on the outside because that means I was definitely like breaking my back, like sleep deprived, like running from like suffering to pleasure, like definitely along that pendulum. Like I was so trying to try new things, trying to like get what I wanted while like fulfilling my responsibilities, but like kind of suffering on both sides, like not fully fulfilling my responsibilities and suffering because of that, and then therefore not being able to fully enjoy what I was pursuing personally. I'm glad it looked like that on the outside. I was like, not. Yeah, that was. I look back at university, I was so disorganized, like so dysfunctional. Like, no.
yeah, I would definitely say we were opposites in that. Like I went to class pretty much all the time. Camille did like, I was like, okay, Camille's in class today. I was like, sweet, like we're honored. Or like, I don't know, like you were just always doing your own thing, which I could admire because I felt like I was very much also just on my own wave, just making it through that place. And but I
Yeah,
guess like
for
what
real.
made you want to study engineering or like go to Michigan?
I it was so weird. Like I was always really good at math and science, blah blah blah. Like I always liked school, blah blah blah. But not really because I was always not even just in university, and I always had problems with like attendance and being at school and like going in and day out. But my mom, she studied electrical engineering, and I didn't know like exactly what I wanted to do like coming onto university. I didn't even know I wanted to go to university. I was just like, okay, like this looks like a good next step and it's kind of like right there. I just have to apply and like I already have the grades and I want to get out of high school. I want to get out of my parents' house. So, like, I just chose a major that I was familiar with. Like, I didn't really have a full understanding of college, like, all these different, like, studies, like, math, science, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, electrical engineer. My mom did that and she finished it. So, like, maybe that's something I can manage. And it has math and science. And those are my highest scores because my grammar is shit. So, like, stay away from humanities and all that social stuff because, like, you'll struggle. But I also struggled in engineering. And U of M, like, University of Michigan, I mean, growing up in Michigan, you know, there's two schools and literally no other schools. Michigan State and University of Michigan. I didn't think I was going to get into University of Michigan because I graduated from high school a year early and they did not accept early graduates. So my goal was to just get in anywhere. And I applied there, like, not even thinking like I would get in. I was like, oh yeah, like, just checking them off the list. Like, the actual school I was focused on going to was Michigan State, and they actually denied me. And I was like,
Lol.
like
Okay,
what?
then.
I was like, whatever. But I got in, and like when I saw the email that I got in, I was like, oh, like for Flint or like Dearborn or something. I'm not saying those are bad schools, but like they were more lenient with
Mm.
what I had to bring to the table. And it was like, oh, like the main school. I was like, what? Like, are you sure? And I was like, what? Like,
Ann
took me
Arbor?
aback.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, like I by process of elimination, like I guess I'll go there. Like that was yeah, the best option I think I applied to. I didn't try to apply to I didn't really try to aim high. I was just trying to like get like a room somewhere and for
Like,
the
I need
next 4 years.
housing, and
Yeah.
they require it freshman year, so I
Yeah,
guess
so I
we
was
will have
like
somewhere to live.
I was like, I'm just trying to get a room somewhere. If I can get that from an education, like two birds, one stone.
Where
Great.
did you live? Like, on North Campus?
Yeah, my first year I lived in Bursley on North Campus. The fifth floor, like I don't even know. I don't even remember, but I lived where all the engineers were living, and I did the M-STEM program that a lot of engineers and science people do coming in. So by default I was required to live in that dorm. It was a beautiful raggedy experience. Like, it was like so cool, like the dorm life, like wow, like I'm just like around all these young kids all the time. Like we can do whatever we want. But it was also so nasty, like, ugh, like this is really like ratchet. But it was nice. It was nice. I'm grateful. So
Lol. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I'm grateful I never had to live on North. I remember just like as a foreigner, like applying to Michigan because I had never been. I had no clue what Ann Arbor even looked like. I was just like, it say it's one of the best college towns to live in, so I guess that must be good, right? And then I was like, well, I watched this one YouTube video. They were like, "Do not live on North Campus, whatever you do." I was like, "Okay, well, the people seem
Avoid.
clear that they should not live on North." So then I somehow found my way on Central, living in Mojo, and I just cruised from then on.
That's nice. That's
And Mojo
nice.
had like air conditioning, and like I had like one of them bay windows. I was like, yeah. And my roommate Fatima was amazing.
Dang. I never even went in that building.
Never.
I don't think so. Do they have a cafeteria?
Yeah, they have
Oh
a dining
wait.
hall. I'm
No,
like,
I've
Mojo
been
was
there. I've
like,
been there.
I was like, people talk about the cookies on the.
Okay, I remember. I'm thinking of another dorm. Okay, Mojo was the one with the field in front and it's
You
got the
probably never been
glass.
to like Markley. I ain't never been over there.
Markley.
I was like,
That's
they
what
got
I mean.
cockroaches.
That's
I'm
the one.
staying away.
Okay. Mojo was super, super nice. That was like I like that better than South Quad. Like South Quad was sweet, but it was like overplayed. Like
I feel you. The cafeteria was. I liked that they had the pasta station. That was really what had me at over
yeah.
there. I was like, they got pasta over here.
That
Cool.
none of that was a thing in Berkeley. Like you just got what you got and you left. Like that was it.
Yeah, Berkeley was rough for sure. Rough.
It made me. It's like a army style dorm. Like it breaks you down and builds you back up again. Like
I guess like did you be okay, so seeing that you picked engineering, did you enjoy it having gone through it, or do you like think like now that if you could have gone back you'd been like, "Nah, I wouldn't have put myself through all that."
I wouldn't change a thing. Like I think about that all the time. Like now that I'm out of school and I realize like what do I gravitate toward? Not always engineering, but I think I enjoyed it for things like different things. It's hard to say like because it was a process of suffering. Like it was something that was really hard to do and something that needed to be completed and there was a lot of challenges. So it's hard to say like, oh, it was so amazing and like great and everything was chill. Like it wasn't a vacation where everything's supposed to be great and amazing. Like it was highs and lows, like extreme highs and extreme lows.
When the code work, grateful. When it's not working and oof, the stress.
Like and then it's late at night and like you the deadlines and it's not just one deadline, it's like five deadlines at the same time because you're taking like three or four or five classes and you just have to keep all those numbers in your head. Everything is first priority, but you need to somehow like prioritize everything and like if you don't know the answer, like you just need to push through it and figure it out. Like what do you mean push through? Like I don't know, like and
Did you go to
it's
office hours a lot?
almost never like I
Bro,
was
same here.
not like
Never. I like never went to office. I only went to office hours for Achilles class, I swear, and that was it. Like, and even that, I just be sitting there hearing all these kids ask these smart questions,
yeah,
just
I
like,
was like,
what
I don't
the
need y'all to know
hell?
how behind I am. Like
I'm like still hella confused.
yeah, that's how I thought. I was like, if I go in office hours, they're just gonna hoe me. They're gonna be like, you're asking questions from day one. Like you're not gonna like. I don't need that.
Or
My
like they ask you to solve something on the board and you're
oh
like, bro, I don't even understand
like
the
I'd be
question.
sweating in the office. Like
I can't walk you through this.
yeah,
Like,
and I'm just like, I'm gonna suffer it privately. Like I'm gonna learn on my own. Like look,
I
like
don't need them to see me cry. Like,
exactly. My confidence as an engineer during university was very fragile and I was like keeping that under
hella
wraps. Like that
fragile.
was airtight. Like nobody needed to know that I didn't know. The only person that needed to know that I didn't know was whoever was grading my exams and not even I needed to know. I was lying to myself like the whole time and that's how I got through. Like I did not do good. I did
You
not
say
do
this,
good.
and then it's like you have a whole PhD, right? Or like your master's or whatever. I'm like, you say here, and at the same time, like
Yeah, it's
educated and shit. You know?
it's a whatever they call it, a paradox or a paradigm, some intelligent word
It mean
here.
irony
It's
is just ironic, you know.
ironic as hell. Like you're just like you come out feeling like I feel like I did not learn that properly. I feel like I cannot like back up what I wrote in this report, but y'all gave me the degree, and that's really what I came here for. So thank you. Now I gotta start over and like really learn this shit for real, like in the professional setting that I am now questioning entering. Because if college was like that, like I don't know if I want to do this long term,
I feel you.
especially if you put a number on it. And I'm just like, oh wow, like
It's
this is really
wild how
what it
many
is.
engineers burn out. Like I'm just like I didn't even realize like that was a thing. Like I didn't know that engineers burnt out, but I'm like low key, I get it. I
Yes,
100% understand cuz I you just get fed up. It's too much, you
it's
know. It's a
too
lot of
much.
mental. It's a lot. It's stressful.
It
And it's
is.
weird because I would think that in a culture that like it's all about building things to make the world better, like people wouldn't be so egotistical about stuff, but it's all
Mm-mm.
like a I'm smarter than you or
Yeah.
like how do you not know that or like using like hella fancy words when I'm like, we could say the same thing in
Much
just
simpler.
regular language. Like, I don't understand why you feel the need to overcompensate with these big words. Like, I get what you're saying, but like, we don't need to talk like that.
That's how I feel. Like when I would explain stuff in university and even in my master's, like people were well, my master's was a lot better because like people came from all over the world, so like they were using the most basic English they could. But in U of M, like I would just be like, I'm not gonna learn the vocabulary to describe this when I can describe it plain and simple. Like I get it. Like, there's a little bureaucracy here, and you have to use the terminology, blah, blah, blah. But, like, do you really, like, at the end of the day, you're crunching numbers. Like, that's at the end of the day, we are not writers, we are not lawyers, we are not, like, we're not doing that. So, like, you don't need to worry about all that. And that makes everything so much more confusing for me. And it slows down the process because now I have to learn all these words and stuff and then solve the problem that
I'm
really
like, we
comes down to
didn't need to go
numbers.
through all of this. There was a shorter path.
That's what I'm saying. But like, I definitely noticed that a lot in university, and because like my grades were never good, I just gave up like trying to do all that. Like, oh, like what'd you get on the
Did
exam?
the
Da, da, da.
advisors tell you to give up on your degree? Because they be telling that to people. It's wild.
I never went to my advisor. I went to my advisor like the last day of school. Like, okay, so I need a plan. Like I'm in my fourth year. You can't really tell me anything right now because people were always going to their advisors like, no, like I don't need anybody telling me anything. Like I'm just here. I am the blind leading the blind, but we gonna make it out because my budget only allows for 4 years, and I need to come out with a degree because I have a complex that tells me I cannot fail. So I don't care,
I
and I'm
feel
not listening to anybody. Like I was like,
like we have our own guidelines for this. Okay, I
yes,
don't need them.
I was just trying to make everything up and just wait till the end for somebody to clean it up.
Be like, can I graduate? Yes, you can.
Exactly.
Bet. Give me the paper.
That's the only thing I went into the advisor's office for. Like, okay, do I have all my requirements? Like, yes or no? And I'll go in again and be like, yes or no. Like, I can't, like, I need everything to come out perfectly because I cannot do an extra semester. Like,
Yeah, same. I was like, I can't be here longer.
I
No.
won't
Nope.
finish. I cannot. I remember I did one semester with 18 credits or something, just so like the second semester would be chill because I knew I was gonna burn out anyway. So I was like, might as well really burn out, like not just like medium burnout, like really burn out, like, and the next semester be chill, like the last semester of school, which it's never chill. That was like a trap, but that's what kept
It
me going.
never, you're right. It is a really a
It was
trap
never
because I went
chill.
in there, they're like, oh yeah, engineering. You just have to do 4 years of math in the beginning and that's it. That's it. So I'm like, okay, okay,
It's chill.
okay. I
No.
suffered through the first 4 years of all of them calcs. And then they're like, oh, every other class, we're going to say it's like electromagnetism and we're going to say it's optics and we're going to say it's this, but really it's math. It's math. You're stuck with the math.
Yeah.
This is all math.
It's never easy. Like not easy. It's never 1, 2, 3. It was never you learn it.
Take the derivative and the integral and
Yeah.
then find the area and then do the transfer and then ask me how does this determine the shadow of blah blah blah, and I'm like, bro.
Yeah. It was never like a process. It was never a repeatable business process. It was always something extra, always something that switched it up. And like I could not keep up with that. Like I was like, okay, I can do this a couple times a year, but like
I was grateful for COVID to like move classes online because I was like, low key, if I had to finish that semester with some of them professors, I
I would
swear
have
I would have been,
I would have
it would have been
failed.
a different
Like I would have
situation.
failed. Like if I had to actually like for our project, I was like, if I had to actually get in the lab for that, like I would have not been able to perform. Like I was like, we got like an A or something, like a good
I
grade.
know.
Like
I was like, okay,
I was like, y'all just giving
I'm
those
gonna take
out,
it.
like because
I'm gonna take it.
that was like a blessing in disguise. Because I think I cannot imagine the last semester without COVID. Like everyone was like, "Oh man," I was like, My teachers are
Thank you,
confused.
Jesus.
Yes, they don't know what to do. The labs are closed. We can't enter the
I'm like,
lab.
how am I gonna build? I can't go to campus. Y'all want me to catch the Rona?
Yeah, they were like, "Oh no, we can't go to the labs." I was like, "I guess we can't go to the
Oh
labs." Yay!
no. Less work?
Right. They're
Finally.
like, "I guess you can just write a report." I was like, "Oh man, I really wanted to
Write a
do
paper.
like I really wanted to demonstrate this." Like, no. No.
It's like, I'll write the paper. Give me the paper. What
Right,
topic?
exactly. I'll write a paper, most definitely.
Was like going to school in Europe, I guess like did you like that more than
Mm,
university in the US? Or I guess like how would you compare it?
it was definitely very, very different. Like, firstly, like having teachers who speak English but their first language is not English. Additionally, it was a master's, so it was already, I guess, like less involved than like undergraduate life. You know, like University of Michigan, that is like your life for like years. But this was like there were people, for example, who had like maybe a job as well and kids, so it was something on the side. But I would say I did it in Sweden, and the Swedish educational system is really rigorous. Like they expect perfection. So unlike University of Michigan, where you could get the degree and have failed everything, in Sweden they won't let you through without having a certain level of excellence on every single one of your assignments and every single one of your projects. With that being said, they also give you several opportunities to achieve that level of excellence. It's not like, oh, you failed it, you can never take the test again. No, it's like, you didn't get it this time, but you do need to get it next time. Or next time. Like, you just need to get it, period. Like, it's not negotiable. Like, you're not going to be let out the gate not knowing everything that we're teaching you, which I respected a lot. I can walk out of that degree and say, like, I actually know what I'm talking about. I actually know the projects I did, the tasks I performed, the work I did wasn't just to pass. It was to actually learn it. So I would say that was a difference. Like, it's hard to compare because one was a master's, which is already more specific, and one was undergraduate, like general soup of
Yeah.
shit. But like they don't do a curve system. It's like they want everybody to learn it, and you get, I think it's like 5 tries for exams and assignments or something like that. So you get like 3 tries within the year and then 2 tries the next year. If you go another year, you or yeah. So I appreciated that. At first, I didn't like that. I was like, what? Like, this isn't good enough for you guys. But then I respected it. I was like, you know what? Because when I got this degree to potentially go in this field, I don't want to go in the field with like a halfway understanding of what I did. Like, it would be ideal to just feel like for myself confidence in my knowledge. So, and I got it while I was in school instead of afterwards, like struggling at a job or whatever. So, I can't say I liked it more or less because they were so different, like completely different experiences.
Yeah, I feel that. I guess like how do you like living in Europe?
It's um I don't know, like now I'm living in Barcelona and it's very different from Sweden. I loved Sweden. It's an amazing country. I don't know. Each European country is different, but just to compare from the US, it's a lot less noise. Like the US is super intense about everything and there's always like a central purpose to everything versus like when I was in Sweden, it was really just like people taking it easy, like doing a couple of tasks to like achieve some objective and kind of saying fuck the rest and then having fun versus like I remember at U of M people were like just like cracked out like 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 people couldn't even have like a proper conversation with you because they were already thinking about the next
Preach.
task
Yeah,
that they
exactly.
had to do and you're like damn like then you get like that, and then you always feel like you're chasing time, and it's annoying. And I learned like
I feel you. It
like
is
it's annoying.
hella annoying.
I'm just like,
Hella annoying.
I'm not trying to chase time, and like I feel like life is a bit slower in Europe. At least it was in Sweden, and here in Spain it's a lot slower. Like it's Spain, like everything is slow. But now I live in Spain because I moved here because my boyfriend is from here. He's from Barcelona, or yeah, and at first I had an adverse reaction because Spain is like the hood of Europe, and I was just like,
Really?
yes, like I can't, don't even get me started on how hood it is here. Like it's an amazing country, like beaches, yes, like sunshine, palm trees, yes, but like wages, no, government processes, no, like customer service, no, like no, 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 no. Like quality of life, like depends on what you want in your life. Like if you want beers, tapas, and the beach, like quality of life, 100 out of 100. But if you want like organization, like decent, like all that like life management shit, like if you want that organized, like
Yeah.
no, in Spain, like no, like you're gonna have to fight for it, like everything you have to fight for it. Like versus Sweden, all the processes were so seamless, like the super clean organized Swedish society, like it was like that. But versus Spain is like, if you want to get one piece of paper, you gotta beg this motherfucker to get you an appointment. Then you have to hustle somebody and negotiate, and then pay this. But then you end up finding out you don't need to pay that. And then you went to the wrong building. Blah blah blah. Like, oh, I'm like, oh, it's a lot. But I do like beer. I do like tapas. I do like the beach. So I'm not
100.
complaining.
Like, it could be worse.
It
It
could be
could be worse.
worse. It could be worse. And like Barcelona is a great city. Like at first I was not liking it because okay, being in Sweden, I was a student. The student life is always a beautiful bubble of discovering yourself and living within your potential and meeting new people and having an instant social circle, having a very obvious objective goal at hand that is achievable if you do XYZ. It's a very defined world. And so, with a definite timeline, 1 year. So, for me, it was like super great. And that's how I had my previous experiences, like at University of Michigan, defined timeline, like this bubble, this world, whatever, and like all these things within it. After school, that shit goes out the window. Like there is no, it is so wide open. Like the door is so wide open, and like that's
You can
very,
literally do whatever.
yeah,
Do whatever.
it's overwhelming. It's exciting because you're like, wow, I can do whatever I want. But at the same time, you
You're
have
like,
to
what the hell do I want to do?
yeah, that question is super like it's a huge question. Like, what am I going to do? How am I going to organize my time? And that's how Spain is. And like, I'm not here as like a student partying, and like I'm here to like make the life that I dream of in Spain. Like I always picture doing that in my home country, which I know how to navigate like the back of my hand with all the resources and stuff that I'm aware of. I'm doing that process of becoming an adult in another country. And it does very much make it harder, but it also makes me think harder about what that process is. So not I've been able to think more than do, which in the past I didn't like. I'm very like action oriented, like just do it, just go into it, go, just do it. Don't think about it. Just go, go, go. Stop thinking, more doing. And I feel like now it's a lot of thinking like, like since I'm starting over and I actually need to wait to work, like getting my immigrant papers. I need to wait to speak the language and socialize and all this stuff. In the meantime, I'm thinking, do I actually want to do this before I'm jumping into it? I feel like our university trained us, like, if you don't have your full-time offer before you leave university, like,
Failure.
you're you're
Failure.
literally
We
dead,
should have
like
weeded you out in freshman year.
yeah,
What you
like,
still
you're
doing
literally
here?
done, like, you're literally, like, dust, like, you're
Bro,
nothing. That's how they make you feel, and that's
they really
horrible.
do. It was so wild. I don't know. Did you probably had to also take that like social training that they give all EEC students so that we are normal out into the world? Do you know that class I'm talking about where they're like, this is how you function in the world, but it was only EEC students. They never made any other engineering program do this. It was just us. And in that class, like the
Telecommunication?
professor, it was, yeah, one of them to graduate classes. Like it was just you went in there was a clicker. I don't know. It lasted a
I
short time because of COVID, but I remember like the professor was literally like to the class, yeah, if you didn't get into Facebook or Twitter or Microsoft or wherever, it's okay. Like you are not a failure. I was like, wait, why do you need to tell this to
why
children?
is
Like
that
this is
even
how
a
people
thing?
feel. I'm like, this is literally how people feel. Like this is ridiculous. Like what the hell?
It's crazy, like, how people are I would see it at career fair every year. People were, like, dying to be claimed, like, by these, like,
Companies, yeah.
superhero companies, like, having it like, "Okay, like, I got my first time offer, blah, 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 like, it's great, like, I'm secure, like, I secured the bag, like, I I'm, like, free from the apocalypse, like, I got in the spaceship, like, I'm good," like, it's they
I
really
made it,
I
mom.
made
Yeah, I
it,
feel
like,
you.
little do we know, like, that's not even making it. I
It
learned that
ain't.
that's not
It's not.
what I want at all, like, I don't it's gonna be a step, but it is not the goal. It is
Exactly.
not the
Exactly.
dream either, like, I just and having delayed that because of COVID, like, I had my full-time offer in Los Angeles with, like, a leading company in my industry. I was like, "Oh my god, like, yes, like, I did it, like, woo, like, I got my full-time
Society is so
offer
proud of
in Los
me.
Angeles, like, right before I graduated, I'm gonna hop right in the job and get it going." I'm so glad that didn't happen. At first, when COVID hit and they told me, like, "Hey, sorry, like, we can't fly you out, like, blah, blah, blah," I was like, "No, like, what am I gonna do? Like, I graduated, I have no job." That's the only thing I was thinking, like, I'm a jobless University of Michigan graduate from
You're like, I'm a
electrical engineering.
statistic.
I was
Oh my
like,
god.
I did everything
Thing right.
to get a
What the
fucking
fuck?
job. Why
Yeah.
is this happening to
Michigan,
me?
you said if I had this paper, they would come to me. What
Yeah,
the hell?
they
They're
would
not
come
coming.
flocking, like, they would come flocking to my door and begging me for my presence because 'cause I'm queen, like,
Yeah, exactly.
I
And
was
it's like
like
I feel you.
it was a hard no. It was a hard no from everybody.
You're like, I'm a diversity hire. What are you guys doing?
Right,
Inclusion,
like,
inclusion.
exactly, like, don't you want me, like, double whammy, like, black, female, like, and electrical engineer, like, oh, like, you gotta get your
Like
numbers up, like,
unicorn.
like, I don't
Unicorn.
it was like, "No, like, no, 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 like, no, no, no," and at first I was super like, "Dang, what am I gonna do with all this time?" Like, I just thought that my time needed to be filled with a job, otherwise I was worthless, but then I was like, "What?" Like,
Ridiculous.
then I realized I was having fun, like, I went to Hawaii, right, like, after school, I was like, "Screw it." My friend was like, "Just come on, let's go, like, are you doing anything else?" I was like, "No, but I need to be working on my career, my future." He was like, "You just graduated," and, like, this was a friend he was nuts, like, he's nuts, like, he's crazy, so I take everything he says with a grain of salt, but I listened to him with this. He was like, "You just graduated, like, just relax," and I was like
Go have fun. Exactly.
me, like, wheezing, "Okay," like, "I guess," but I was like, "I'll bring some stuff just in case I wanna do a little work or, like, start a business while I'm out there," like, I that U of M mentality to, like, work even when is, like, so crazy.
Very
Very
American.
American. The Europeans would never, like, they Like, I'm tired.
They're like, "Excuse me, it is my lunch break. You're gonna have to come back at 2,
Exactly.
okay? We're not. Business
That is Spain
closed."
all day. Like the businesses between like 2 and 5. Like they are not trying to get that extra money. They're like, no, you can keep it. Like
I don't need it. They're like, "I'm good."
my time is worth double what you paying. So I'm gonna see y'all later. Like this is no deuces. Period. Like no. So I went to Hawaii for like 2 months, had a ball, which is like, oh wow, I can actually chill. Like I was still like I was still trying to grind, but I was like, oh, it's so nice outside. Like,
The funny where you can say, "I can actually chill. Look at that. Who knew I had it in me?"
yeah, because I was just like a big stress ball for a while. Like, yeah, I was functioning, I was having fun, but like I was like there was like if you like me on the front, like haha, super fun. But if you were to turn me like back on the side, like there would be like 1,000 clips like holding me together. Like just like trying to
It's
manage the
okay.
stress.
Everything is fine. Like we got
Yeah,
this.
it's fine. Just don't remove one of the clips, or I will literally fall apart. It was, I'm definitely glad that I took that trip because it made me think there's got like, it was so much fun. I was like, you mean to tell me, like, after all this fun, like, I have to go report somewhere for like all the daylight hours of every day of the majority of the week of the majority of the year for the majority of my life? Like
It's
it
a big commitment. It's a big
it is
commitment.
it is a huge commitment. So they always say like do what you want to follow your dreams, but it's like okay, not everybody's dreams are can be monetized, and not everybody wants to monetize their dreams because that can get like real weird for some people. So I was
Yeah,
just
I feel
like,
you.
okay, what are there? I cannot. I know that there are people who are like working but making money, but also have their time to themselves. And they're doing all of that at the same time. I want to be one of those
Exactly.
people. I already know I don't like working in corporate. I did 2 internships and I literally went insane. I don't care what anybody says like, oh, my internship was great. I was like, I personally, I went insane. Like I had mental breakdowns. Like I would wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning and cry because I was like, I do not want to work on this schedule. Like sometimes I want to work 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Sometimes I want to work 12 a.m. to 12 a.m. and then take 3 days off and like but I had to get up every day and get on the rickety tickety bus in 101-degree heat to this office full of like telecommunication equipment with people talking about they threw their dreams away when they were my age. Like people be like, oh, I wanted to be a news reporter, but then I blinked and I've been here 30 years. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like,
Damn. See,
yo,
that is my biggest fear. That right there. Like, oh hell no. Oh.
I'm fighting to get away from that. Even if I have to change countries every 3 years just to like reset, like that's what I like about traveling. Like it really just like shakes you up. Like you thought you had a plan, you thought you like were doing it right, then some new information came in, you're like, whoa, like okay, gonna reinforce the plan with some new information to, make it better or change course. Because had I not left, I definitely would be going on a path maybe that would delay me. And I thought this was a delay, not getting to that path. But it actually, I feel like I'm right where I need to be, even though it's not where I want to be. So, like, I mean, of course, right now I would love to, like, hit the lottery, like,
I
right
know. I'm
now.
like, buy some Bitcoin and have that shit just pop off real
Exactly.
quick, you know, just
Like,
for a hot sec. Like, give me that 5 minute window to just pull out real quick, and then
yes, exactly. The highly volatile stock. I put in $100 in Bitcoin back in November, and it's just been slowly, like, No, it's like we're 60 and I'm like, it's cool. I'll just leave it in there. I didn't need the 100 anyway. I was just seeing about some
Let it
stuff.
grow. It's about the future. You soon you'll
Exactly.
be like, yes, I'm an early crypto investor. Flash forward 15
A
years,
hundred
they'll be like,
dollars is not worth a
Camille,
hundred
how did
thousand.
you where are you putting your investments today?
I'm putting my investments in, I don't know. Investments are the old thing. We don't invest anymore. We just
Right.
have.
We just
There's the haves
I
and there's the
attract.
have-nots.
Okay, I don't even think about it. I just
Exactly.
attract
Literally,
abundance. The
yes,
money just
exactly.
shows up in my account. The stocks just show up there. I didn't do anything.
Yeah, we use the law of attraction. There's
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
yeah,
We visualize it and the stock appears.
exactly.
That's hilarious. Is your like dream because I feel like why I loved you a lot was because I felt like your dream life was very much aligned similarly to like my dream life, which is like you said, to be somebody that has enough wealth that you don't really need a job because your wealth sustains you and you can just create and do whatever and live wherever and just have a ball because like and then actually live because like it's life and you should live it.
Exactly, exactly. I think that is my ideal situation. Like, of course, so now I live in a socialist country and people are satisfied. So the average wage here, your mouth is gonna drop, is in Barcelona, not in Spain, but in Barcelona, when like the second biggest city, is $22,000 a year. That is how much like an engineer is making. So,
Wait, that's how much an engineer makes?
mhm,
Engineer makes minimum wage?
yeah, so a starting engineer makes like 22 to 24,000 most of the time. There are some
Camille,
like
that's like some
extreme,
people's starting bonus. Like, this is ridiculous.
yes. Like the wages in Spain are very, very, very low. So people depend on, I mean, everything is also very cheap here, but not that much
Mm,
cheaper than Michigan. Like I'm doing like no. But it's a socialist country. So there's a lot of social benefits. So people are okay with depending on their salary and depending on the government to make ends meet and like have everything they need, have enough for the yearly or 2 yearly vacations. Like there's good job benefits, time off, blah 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 blah. Like it's enough. But for me, like no, like I don't want to depend on the government
on anyone, yeah.
for
Period.
like my basic needs or the motherfucking paycheck because I don't know what that's going to look like in a few years. I don't want to be chained to the country I'm living in. And I also don't want to be chained to the job I'm working. If I stop
Exactly. Like,
working
you need
today,
them to
yeah,
feed your family?
like
No.
my job is feeding my family. Meanwhile, the CEO, me working, is like taking, like, I don't even know what he's doing or she's doing. Like,
They could
they
just be like, fire half of them. And you're like, Camille, I'm sorry, but it's over.
disposable. And then I'm just sitting there like, oh my gosh, like most people are like, okay, yes, congratulations to you, you have your savings, but like that's not, you know what I mean? That's your like equity line.
What
You're
is
not
that
even
gonna
supposed to
do?
touch that. Like
Yeah,
you're not supposed to
exactly.
live off of that. So it's like you're literally one paycheck away from being in poverty. Like I don't want that. Like and when you look at it like that, like then you start to change and see what you want for your life. Like a lot of people don't look at it like that. They're like, I got my paycheck, like we good. Like
Yeah.
no, like you have one source of income, and if that goes away, you're gonna be
Yeah,
sweating. Like you're
exactly.
gonna be
Exactly.
nervous. Like
Like the people that you mock in the streets, that could be you.
yeah,
One paycheck away from that, okay? Just a reminder.
exactly. Like you would be like shaking in your boots as and then be like, oh yeah, but the government come in like, okay, well, I don't
They
know if you know about the
also
history
about
of
to
government,
increase this inflation and what you finna do
right?
about that. I don't think they asked your opinion when they made that
No, they did
decision.
not. Like if you want to depend on the government, you're gonna be living a you're gonna be put into a certain class. Like depending on the government, you're gonna be forced into lower class, and you're gonna stay there because that's the government support. The government is not supporting you.
They don't want free people.
No, they are not supporting your dreams. If you depend on the government, you are automatically in lower class. Like, no, like I'm not somebody who's like hyper focused on the classes, but that's the best way to describe it. Like, okay, say I want to be in a higher class of society. I cannot be depending on the government for my resources. Like, it will never get to that
Yeah,
level.
exactly. Because
So
they'll always want their piece, and at that point, then how are you gonna grow if, like, as you're trying to grow, they trying to take their cut every time you try to grow?
they be trying to take their cut. Like, that's like, I was reading Rich Dad Poor Dad or something like that. It's one of those books talks about like financial freedom, yeah. Like, and they're like, okay, you get a raise, you pay more
Preach.
taxes.
You get a
Like,
bonus,
you get a raise,
taxes. They give you
you pay
stock,
more
you
taxes.
paying taxes on that. Like,
You like it's just crazy
and
and
people are like,
like
"Oh my god, I got a raise," and I'm like, "Okay, but did you really though?" Because like they're pretty much just trying to make sure your money doesn't completely deflate with inflation. So how much is that raise really?
exactly. That's exactly. It's like you got a raise, but like that don't really mean anything. Like, and people when as soon as they get a little bit more money from the man, they go and they increase their expenses, and it's just like now it's just relative. Now you're just working harder for the
Mm-hmm.
same fraction of income that you're getting into your life. You brought more expenses in because
You f-
your
the
job wore you
yeah,
out,
exactly, and you
and
feel
you
like
feel
you
like you
need
deserve
stuff. Yeah,
something
exactly. To be like,
to
okay,
pacify
at least
you.
I got my Birkin bag and Gucci shoes, so I guess we can
Like,
continue this grind.
it's like, no, that's the pendulum running from pleasure to pain. Like, I don't want any of that. Like, I want my income not to be tied to my time, which means passive income. I
Preach.
want to be able to, if I have to stop working for some reason,
It's okay. Like it
it's
literally makes
okay.
no difference. Like it's just
It's
a decision.
okay.
Like it's just like I want to stay home. Cools. I want to go snowboarding. Cools. I feel like making a
Exactly.
podcast. Cools. Like it makes no difference because you're no longer like, oh crap, if I don't do anything today, I'm not gonna make money and therefore back to poverty. It's not that threat.
That's
Like,
horrible. Like, then money runs your life. Like, people always say, oh, rich people are so obsessed with money. Like, no, everybody, like the middle and poor, are just as obsessed with some of these rich people with money. It runs everybody's life. The lack of it or the desire to have more. Like, I don't want that. And that's horrible. Like, being like, oh, like if I gotta work in order for me to get this. Like, no, like I want to work because I enjoy my job, or my job serves a certain purpose, but my money works as well. Like, it's not just me working for money.
preach.
My money works as well and makes money for itself. And then I reap the benefits and I put that back in and make more money, or take a little bit out and go get my hair done or whatever, or buy another asset like
Preach. That's like
another
how it
cash
should
flow.
be. I'm like, can everybody just I'm like, guys, can we just shift to this, please? We would all be so much better off. Like if we just all just were like, you know what? I don't want to be walking this tightrope between living in a nice place and being homeless. Like I actually want to be
It's
able to just
crazy.
live. Like just live. Like
It's crazy. I'm sure it's, I feel like this knowledge is day by day being more distributed to people. I think is great, but I also know that our society works in a certain way where there needs to be a certain number of people who don't utilize this knowledge in order for those who utilize it to get the full advantage of it, which I think is horrible. Like, I don't understand it, and it's just like, it's like, wow, like they really have done so many things for people to just like not do that and just go the quote unquote easy route and get a job, work it forever,
yeah.
and hope everything works out. Hope you get that raise. Hope you get that position. Hope you climb that ladder in the company and get that manager position that you want. And they tell everybody who starts out, oh yeah, like there's opportunities to grow in the company, blah blah blah. But then at the end of the day, you tell all of the new people who came in, all 100 of them, this, but there's only one of those positions. So you mean to tell me you're gonna feed off of me working hard so that we all work hard so that the company wins, but at the end of the day, only one of us will get that position, not all of us, one, and then the rest will still be with the hope of moving up. Like, that's too
But it's
weird for me.
weird
Like,
because
I
it's like
can't do
when you're
that.
in that bubble, like it's very much it reinforce it like they do things that reinforce the idea of like having careers, right? So like you'll have speakers that are like, how do you build your career? Things that are stopping your career progression. And then you'll see like, well, they'll celebrate career. So like you'll see like, oh, this person was here for 30 plus years. Oh my God. That is so awesome.
It's crazy.
Congratulations. And I'm just sitting there like 30, you
It's
gave them
weird.
30 years
You
of
gave
your
them 30
life. I'm like, are
years.
you a millionaire? Please tell me you are at least a multimillionaire and you're doing this just out of the goodness of your heart. Because if you
The
still lived in
goodness of your
paycheck to
heart.
paycheck 30 years later, bruh, like
That's
I feel you,
crazy.
the mission is cool and all. But like I'm like, what is this doing for your life?
Because it's not your mission. Like, it's like somebody else's.
Like,
And
yeah,
like,
you're not driving the ship still. Been there
yeah, and
30
like,
years, like, you're still not driving the ship. I'm like,
it's
"And you're
not your
okay with
mission.
this?" Like
As much as your heart is into it and you love that what the company does, like, it's not your company. Like, you're not reaping the benefits of what the company does. Like, it's more like we make great blah 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 blah. Like, we produce solar panels at the click of a button. We blah 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 blah. No, like, you can be replaced
like,
today.
you
Like,
really managed testing the one resistor on that one small half of the back
exactly.
panel that, like
And that's what you get paid for. You don't get paid for what the company does. You get paid for what you do. And they're actually training somebody right now in XYZ university to fill your spot. So it's assembly line. Like, they keep it coming. Like, if you decide one day you're a ticking time bomb and you're like, oh, I can't take this anymore, like, but I'm out of here. They don't care.
they
Like,
have
they
a
already are
bunch
training
of
the next
desperate kids
generation.
that are like, "There's an new job at so and so company? Oh my god, let me apply.
It's
I'm
crazy.
praying. Can I get
Like,
in?"
please let me get the job. Like, I remember, like, I had an interview and I cried when I didn't get the job. Like,
That was
what?
me when I
Like,
didn't get into MIT. I was really distraught. My little heart was broke.
what? Like my self-worth was tied to it, and I feel like that's so unhealthy. Like, it's not
Exactly.
even my company, and I'm sitting here like, ooh, I didn't get in. Like, probably better off.
It's weird. I feel like that's one thing I hated about engineering the most was that it made me feel like my self-worth wasn't enough, you know? Because like, oh, if you
Yeah.
didn't do well on a test or in a class or you didn't know the answer, that somehow meant like you weren't capable. And they were totally fine telling you that to your face. Like, oh, your GPA is not a 4.0. Yeah, you're not getting into Stanford. I'm just to let you know. Like it's not happening.
And that, like, really broke me for like a little bit, but then I realized, like, oh, this university has so much more to offer than like the classes. I was like, oh, you can do this and this. Like, to hell with them classes. Like, I'll pass them up. Like, there was no way. Like, I think I ended with a GPA of like, I don't even know. Probably like, it was lower than a 3. That's for sure, for sure, for sure. I had a GPA lower than a 3. Like, I was like, you know what? Like, I can't get this up. So I'm over it. I'm over that GPA stuff. Like, what else do they have to offer here? Like, how else can I set myself apart? Like, with experiences, great. There's no grading on experiences. So I tried to do other things like join projects and teams, like travel, like, oh, they're giving out money. This is a rich school. Where the money at? Like, what? Like, let me get
When I
some
found out
money.
y'all at Emston got paid, I was like, "Wait, what?" This was like the first time I knew schools could pay a student. I was like, "Y'all get money? For
Girl,
real?"
yes, like,
I was
they
like, "How do
paid
I get some of
3K.
that?"
As soon as I found out they give out, that was how I found out U of M gave out money. I just kept asking, I've gotten more from that school than I've given. Like, every semester, I would ask for money. I would come in shuffling my papers like, I can't do it. Like,
I can't
as a
afford
minority in
this.
engineering, like, I feel so left out because I just cannot keep up financially. Like, okay, we'll see what we can do.
Here's a
Another
grant.
2K. Like,
Yeah.
a grant here, a grant there is like not merit based, like just me negotiating numbers, like using my business skills. Like, I went to business school, like I was not an engineer. I am not an engineer. I am actually not even that good at math. What I am good at is
The game
negotiating
of
and
finesse.
hustling.
The like
Like, it's finessing, like that was it. Like, I went to the school of finesse. Like, I got the engineering degree, but
the school of finesse, really,
yeah.
really. That's really who taught us proud. Yeah, I feel you.
I fought my way out of some of those classes, like sending emails to teachers like, you don't know like what it's like to get up every day and come to your class. Like, them thinking I was struggling, like, no, like me, I just had poor time management. I was smoking weed when I shouldn't have been, and I didn't like the
I could
class.
not,
Like,
bro. I can't smoke when I was studying, bro. I'd be too stressed about engineering to have fun. Like you were do I could not. I was so neurotic about it because I was just like you were saying, like your self-worth is like tied to this stuff that I was like, I can't disappoint my parents. I got this moolah in here. I gotta figure it out. I'm an immigrant. I can't. I gotta figure it out, you know.
that's a lot of pressure. Like,
Oh hell yeah. That's why I didn't have fun. Like only I feel like my junior year did I really stop caring about like being in certain orgs. I was like, yeah, this not for me, not serving me. Deuces, bye bye.
I gave all that up. Like,
And then senior
after
year chilled. Yeah, I was like, this is good. I was like, I could have relaxed this whole time. I was like, holy shit, if I had only
exactly,
known. I would have
like, I
taken more
feel
yoga and meditation classes with Martha, bro. We would have been cruising the whole four
that's what
years.
I'm saying. I found out about those classes because I hit rock bottom. Someone's like, you should take these classes. I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, easy A, easy A. Like, and I took them every semester. I was like, okay,
I'm like,
GPA
I could
boosters.
meditate and write some papers. So I was like, that's all I gotta
Wow.
do. Meditate and write paper, right? And I could do
I
yoga,
didn't,
bruh.
I didn't even write the papers. I was like, sorry, I don't feel like it. Is that okay? One of the papers was like a 5-page paper. The only paper I wrote that shit in 2 hours. Like, I just copy and pasted random stuff, and she was like, "There's content here, so you pass." I was like, "Whatever." Right. GPA booster. Not that I cared about my GPA. My GPA was like irredeemable. Like, it was just the only thing that could redeem it was Photoshop. Like, like that's it.
This is too funny. But we
Now, like, my
made
GPA
it.
doesn't matter.
Made it through. We made
We
it.
made it. We're
I guess
here.
we're the leaders and best that they preach. I was like,
So they
okay.
say.
So, okay.
I guess. Like, I think that is to come. Like, I feel like where I am now, I feel like I'm on track to be this quote unquote leader and best, but maybe not the way U of M would have wanted. I'm gonna do my own thing because I can't do like I never tried to be like different or set aside. It was just like simply because I literally could not follow the directions. Like, I could not. So I had to make it up. Like, I'm not good at school. I'm not good at like corporate America work. I can complete the task, but it's really hard for me. It's really hard.
See, I am like I love school. The thing is like I love to learn purely because I'm like so just fascinated. I'm like the world is just so interesting. I'm like this place crazy. Like I
Yeah,
want to understand. But I feel like corporate is one of those things. It's like it's a part of the journey. I'm gonna
it
learn as
is.
much as I
It
can,
is.
and I'm gonna enjoy it while I can. You know, because it is
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot you can learn, but it's hard because it's like you have to make sure like as you're navigating, you don't get like you don't drink too much of the Kool-Aid that you forget
Exactly.
why
And
you're
get sucked
there.
in and be like,
You know
it's
what I
not that
mean?
bad.
Yeah, like, and then you're like, wait, it's been how many years now? Oh crap, they're
And
giving me the plaque for 20 years. Oh no, this
like,
is not good. We
like
shouldn't have been here this long. I feel you.
I totally blacked out. Yeah, I just feel like I definitely would like to go and just work. Like, I'm probably gonna start working soon. Like, I have 2 job offers. and I'm debating between the two, and also debating between my immigrant papers to allow me to work. But I think it is a very important step, like, not just to see how employees operate, and just to see how your relationship with your boss is. Because say you want your own company one day, you want to see how that works. There are existing structures that make a successful business working from the inside. You can observe those structures and take notes and implement them in your own way if you ever want to start a company one
Exactly.
day, or just learn how to be organized. Like, I think schedules are great. Like, I was very sporadic in university. Yes, I got everything done, but it was not the healthiest way. I think schedules are great. I think being organized is amazing, and I think working a job can teach you how to do that. And while working a job, if you're trying to pursue something else, it also teaches your mind not to shut down every day at 5 p.m. You work and then you go do something else, like afterward. You try to keep the life alive until you go to bed.
You gotta keep the life alive.
Yeah, so I think it's like there's a lot of benefits to like
Don't get
working.
comfortable. Just going to the Netflix and stuffing your mouth, people. We want to create after you clock out, you know? Because I feel
Exactly.
you. Most people are just like, I'm so exhausted by my 9 to 5 that I just don't feel inspired to do anything else. And I'm like, my 9 to 5 supports me to have the ability to do everything else. I'm like, that's the whole
Mhm.
reason we have the 9 to 5 because like we need
Mhm.
money till we can live. Yes, yes. But that can't sustain you. Like, how is that supposed to fulfill like every dimension of just your being and your curiosity? Like, there's just no way. And that's an
No.
unrealistic, I feel like, burden to even put on your job that it's supposed to fulfill like every aspect of your life. Like, it's supposed to
Mhm.
fulfill parts of it for
But
sure. But have other things outside of that.
exactly,
Like,
have other things, other projects, like especially if the projects that you're doing at work, like, I don't know, I'm one of those people who likes to take ownership of things. So, very important to have your own projects outside of work, aside from your work projects that may interest you, but shouldn't be like the center of your being, because that that business, you're not the center of its being, you're a part. And so likewise, it should be mutual. It should be a part of your life, your job, just like
they
you're a
don't
part
want
of
that.
its life.
They want you to be their one and only. They want them to be your one and only.
Yeah, I'm not.
And I'm like, I'm
Mm-mm.
sorry, boo boo, but we're gonna have to see other people too.
Yeah, like I'm seeing multiple people at the same time. I'm seeing my job, I'm seeing my projects, I'm seeing my developing business, I'm seeing my cash flow assets, I'm seeing my friends at 6 p.m. for drinks, I'm seeing the bed, like I'm seeing work from home, I'm like doing other stuff while on the job. Like, no, like y'all not about y'all can fire me, like but you won't, because it's an annoying process and it's too much. I'm
And you're
arguing here.
chocolate, so you know they can't let you go either. Like that's a whole
Yeah,
extra layer to the
I'll pull up a car
conundrum.
so quick. I'm going to the news. Like, I'm smashing the reputation. Like, no.
Camille will be like, I am not the one. Don't
Like,
try me.
one of my friends, she works for Microsoft as well. And right now she's in Turkey. Like, Datriana, you know Datriana.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's her not, yeah. She's in Turkey right now. Like, and I remember we were living together at the last semester of my senior year, and she was working for Microsoft, working from home, and she was literally doing everything else. Like, at the same time, she did not make it the center of her life, and that really inspired me. Like, wow, like she was able to do other things, but also like do enough at her job for them to be like, okay, you're here, you're here. And I was like, wow, like that's what I want to do. Like, that's
Preach.
nice.
I feel like
Like,
that's how people should look at their jobs. Like that's why
mm-hmm.
I don't understand why companies are so pressed to return to the office. I'm like, for what?
Because
Why?
they know people are out there getting inspired. They know people are getting ideas. They're like, nah, you need to come in the building
Like y'all are
where
getting
the
a little too liberal out here. No, no, no.
yeah,
You cannot have dreams. Okay, we have one dream, and it's the
right.
company's dream.
Y'all getting other signals in your head out there. You need to come into this radio silence building and shut all that out and
Yeah, no
just focus.
sunlight exposure. Stay in your cubicle. But we
I'm
have cute
allergic.
tea for you to try. So as long as you could go wild there, and we got new sodas for you, but you
Like,
cannot go
no.
outside.
Exactly. It's like a little person that pays, like, give you just enough for you to be like, oh, but I cannot. Like, I do not like sitting in cubicles. I don't like sitting down, period, unless it's like about my own personal projects. That I can sit down for. But for in the company, like, I lost my mind in the cubicle. I lost my mind in the
I
cubicle.
get
Like,
bored very easily. I need stuff to keep me
same.
constantly engaged, which is why I like
Hmm.
working in my own space because then I can do whatever I need to do to keep me not from going insane. But I feel
Yeah,
you
like
when you're
standing
there, like
up, sitting
if you're not
down.
working on anything, then you're not working on anything. You're just there, but you can't
Hmm.
do anything because, well, you're there. This is company time. This, you,
Exactly. Like, I'm
and I
like, I'm
can't
sorry,
do
what
that.
is that? Are you doing that on company time?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
exactly. Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
think you're supposed to be doing that right now. Ha ha ha. Like, what?
And yeah, they be slick with they like little comments, but it's also weird. Just I feel like working with older people too. I'm like, oh, y'all really think like that. I see.
They're trained different. They're built completely different. Like, they're like,
Completely. Like it really confuses me. Like I be so confused and shocked and just like I'm like, how do you? How? I'm confused. How do
they're
you
built
think like
so different.
this?
I don't know. And I think they were once us. They shut it down just to get through because when I worked for Verizon, when I worked for blah blah blah, like maybe I shouldn't say the company. That met this black woman there. This was the one who wanted to be a news reporter and she took a job at Verizon just to have some money. And she told me the story of how she got stuck there and it sticks with me. Like she's like, yes, I wanted to be a news reporter. I didn't get that job, so I took the job at Verizon just to see if I wanted to change careers and also I needed income. But then I didn't like it, but it was okay because I was only going to be there for a couple years. A couple years go by. I still need the job. I have expenses that I didn't have a couple years ago, and they correspond to the pay that I get here. A couple more years go by. That's 10 years. I have a kid now, like new mortgage, a kid, like I can't just like go that dream looking back looks further away than it did before. 5 years at a job just to get your money up, you blink, you can do that 5 years again and even quicker. She's like, yeah, it's been 10 years that I have my
And
kid.
it's
I
like, what
couldn't
did you really
leave.
accomplish in those 10 years, though? Like, that you could
Nothing.
point to and really be like, I 100%, like, you see me in that, you know? And it's like, you probably, you couldn't tell. Like, if someone asked you, what did you do at blah, blah, blah company? You just be like, oh,
I was one of those.
you don't really, it's not really that interesting.
Yeah, like dang, like that's what and you spend your whole all the daylight of the day there to come out with that? Like no.
I just can't do that to myself. Like I would
No.
like it would feel like the biggest betrayal to myself. And it's like I
Mhm.
love myself so much that I'm just
Exactly.
like, I can't. It's like to do it, it just feels wrong in your core. I'm just like,
I
this
can't do
feels
it.
wrong. I'm allergic to this. Ah, you know.
Literally, like I'm like I can't do it, especially if I don't see I know not everything's gonna be easy, but if I don't see how this fits into the greater purpose, I cannot do it for the sake
Of
of
just doing it. Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
I will suffer for the greater purpose, but not for
Just cuz.
just because. And then like hearing her story, I was like, so you just let 10 years blow by, you had a kid, blah blah blah. Then you had all these justifications why you need to stay there. 10 years later, you hate your job. I see you sometimes you be skipping work, you be in and out, like your lunch breaks be 2 hours because you can't stand to be in the office. That's not cool. And like now you're at a point where that dream of being a news anchor is like so far away. It's not impossible anymore, but you have trained your mind. You have now you have an equilibrium around
Yeah,
this life that
exactly.
you actually don't want. So it's even harder to change. And I doubt she's gonna go back to the news. Like,
Ever. Yeah, exactly.
she's not. She's
'Cause
just
that's like
gonna
the
be
longer
there.
she doesn't do it, the more her brain will even talk her into the fact that it's not possible. Like, "Oh, you're too old now," or, "Oh, you have no experience, and now they have all these new people." Like, "Oh, you missed your shot." And it's like
Miss
stuff
the
like that. You play
bus.
that on repeat, and then you're like, "Well, I guess I do have to stay here, and I have to."
Hmm.
And it's like, "No, you don't. You don't have to stay there. You don't have
You
to stay
don't.
there."
You don't, and you can leave. Like, as long as your heart is still beating, you can keep changing. Like, my boyfriend was telling me, like, he always has to tell me inspirational stuff, and I'm like, I'm behind. Like, I'm 20. No, I'm 23. I'm 23, and I'm not a
Like, "I'm
CEO,
not a
billionaire,
millionaire."
tech mogul. Like,
I
what the
know.
fuck? Like,
I
what's
know.
wrong with me? I'm so behind. He's like, KFC is $1 million industry, and the guy who started it when he was 67 years old, and he had $100 in his pocket, and that guy was rich as fuck. And I'm like, I always have something to like retort, like, that's
Like,
great
"I
for
didn't
him,
ask
but
for
for
that. That's
me,
white privilege. That's what
exactly. He's
that
like,
is."
um, that's a really cute story, but like, actually, like, I personally for me, do not want to find success at 67. Y'all be saying, oh, you can fail, you can still start. No, 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 no. That's all fine and well, beautiful, beautiful.
That's
But
cute
I
for
want,
you.
yeah,
But
like,
for me, though, we on a
that's not for me.
different wavelength
Exactly.
here,
Like,
honey.
that's not where
I
my
ain't waiting
bar
until I'm
is.
69. I'm trying to be on a yacht by the time I'm 35. Like, okay?
Exactly. That doesn't apply to me. Like, I'm not trying to like wait till I'm 65. No, 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 no. Like, that's a great story, but my target is a little bit sooner, so I'm gonna fail faster. That's what I'll say. Like, I'm gonna fail super fast.